YouTube changed my life. YouTube taught me how to cut hair. YouTube taught me how to fight. It taught me jujitsu. It taught me kickboxing. It's taught me so many skills that I can go on and on and on about. And that's the reason why I'm going to be making longer form content videos like this to help out the next generation. These format videos, as far as this one-on-one camera, are honestly to this day really my favorite. Getting to hear creators that you're into, that you choose, essentially just get to sit down and have a conversation like this is my favorite. There's nothing like it, especially in today's world where everybody's so divided and there's not really that much communities and people really don't have many friends. I mean, I personally have access to a lot of people, but me personally, I have a handful of people that I'm really close to. So one of the main things that I got from YouTube in this format of videos was simply having that older brother or father figure that a lot of people don't have. I certainly didn't have it. I had older brothers, but they were out living their own lives and doing their own things, where oftentimes I had questions about girls, being an adult, moving out, right? Growing and getting more responsibilities over time and these kinds of things. And oftentimes I just needed someone to conversate with, to talk about these things that I was thinking about at 16, at 18, at 15 years old, honestly. And then now being 26, still searching for knowledge and wisdom constantly. So today I'm gonna lay out my favorite 5 things that I've learned through these kinds of videos. So number 1 is keep yourself out of debt, right? These 5 things that I'm gonna go over, basically, if you don't do these things, you're gonna be in a good position in your 30s if you simply don't make these mistakes. So number 1 is keep yourself out of debt, right? Don't pull out the car payment of that big truck that you want and then end up having to slave extra hours at work to pay that off. Just not a smart idea. I'm gonna run through these 5 and I'll kind of elaborate on them after. Number 2 is a DUI. Pretty self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised how many people that are 30, 31, you ask that question, hey man, you ever had a DUI? There's quite a few people that have. Number 3 is divorce. This is a really tricky one because, marriage and relationships and whatnot, they're all so different for everybody. But generally, ideally, I would simply say that it's not the best idea to get married early in the mid-20s, early 20s. Later in the 20s, a little different, but essentially you're trying to avoid these big hurdles and headaches that these issues can possibly bring to you if you go through them. And divorce is definitely one of them, where it's going to be a long process that you're going to have to get out of. Obviously, it's not every single divorce that's like that. Some may be super easy, but moving on to the 4th one is avoiding crime, right? Like me as a barber, I've talked to thousands of men that are 28, 29, or in their 30s that have been to jail for X amount of time, where essentially they lost out on their life in a year, 2 years, where once again they're now behind trying to catch up. And if they simply wouldn't have done these things, they would be right where they should be, or even further ahead. At number 5, we have don't have an unplanned child, right? Having a kid's obviously a blessing from God, and it can make people better individuals when they have them and they're not planned. But ideally, you don't want to do that, right? You want to, in a perfect world, or ideally you want to have a child with someone that you want to have it with, not you being in a bad situation. So recapping these 5 briefly, you got no DUI, no divorce, no unplanned children, no crime, and then no debt. If you avoid these 5 things in your 30s or even late 20s, you're going to be ahead of a lot of the people that are around you. There are a lot of people, oftentimes they've made 1 or 2 of these. So I learned this from Aaron Clarey. Shout out to Aaron Clarey. You guys can check out his channel. Just amazing information, Aaron Clarey. And yeah, this definitely helped me out quite tremendously with dealing with guys that are my age now at 26, dealing with school loans, debt, right? Them going to school, them having to pay debt off, or them just having like a massive car payment where they're glued and attached to their jobs, and they don't really have that freedom that they really want. You know, they may be driving around in their nice vehicle, and that's great, but for those that want to be a little bit more, you know, on the conservative side, kind of playing it safe to an extent, I would definitely recommend not going that route and simply thinking twice about all those variables and situations in those 5. And obviously, we're always going to make mistakes. It's something inevitable. Everybody's going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. But if you can find a way to just not make the big mistakes, right? Not make the big L's, and oftentimes kind of cruise through life a little bit. I'm not saying be comfortable and just be complacent and be okay with that. I'm saying that, you know, if you're in a situation where maybe you don't think you're at the place where you need to be, but you don't have those mistakes I just mentioned or even other ones, in my opinion, you're in a good spot, right? You're ahead of those that have to deal with those issues or problems that they've ran into making those mistakes. So there's a lot of power in that. So, and also just continue to watch these kinds of videos. Just any kind of self-improvement, no matter what it is. Some people may think it's corny. Some people may think it's cheesy or, you know, just weird or whatever they may think. But at the end of the day, I would say this is better even if you get a little piece of knowledge through these videos than watching a Netflix show or a movie or sports, things like that. If you can just grab pieces of things that resonate with you, things that stick out to you, that you can hold on to and essentially carry on for a long time, that's the goal. You know, that's the goal at the end of the day, is to just grab little bits and pieces as you go, and it can be from different creators, right? Like, different creators can inspire you in different metrics that others wouldn't, right? Other creators may have a different style to them that is okay, and that's where you can essentially pick and choose, and that's the beauty of the internet. The privilege that us Gen Zers have is that, you know, our older siblings or, you know, 20, 30 years ago, they didn't have these benefits and these privileges that we do have now. So I highly recommend that you guys utilize that, and, you know, you don't have to buy a course, you don't have to spend, like, there's so much free knowledge on the internet. So I hope this helped you guys out. I'm going to try to pump out as many as I can. I'm going to try to branch out into as many different topics as possible. So if you guys like this video, check out more, and I hope to have you guys around on the channel.